Hi, and welcome to this week's edition of Spotlight on the Arts. I'm Carrie Seidman with the Sarasota Herald-Tribune, and I'm here with my colleague Jay Handelman, who is just back from a week at the American Theater Critics Association conference in Philadelphia, where he abandoned me for a week during the Sarasota Film Festival.
Sorry.
A little passive aggressiveness here.
But you survived, so
we survived just fine, and unfortunately you missed a very successful festival.
I'm sorry I missed it. There are a lot of movies I want to try to catch up on, and I figure if they're really good, they're going to get released somewhere. So.
Let's hope so. Yeah. Let's hope so. Anyway, since he's so full of theater news, I'm going to let him start us off with what's coming up in local theaters.
Right. So we're going to start out with one of the most popular books in contemporary literature is To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee, and the stage version is back on stage at the Manatee Players in their Kiwanis Studio Theater, and it's the final show of the season up there on their small stage. Preston Boyd is directing it, and Mark Shoemaker, who's been in a lot of plays, is playing Atticus Finch, the lawyer who defends a black man who was accused of raping a woman, and the story and lessons that his daughter and her friends learned from this case, and it's obviously had a lot to say to a lot of people. It's amazing how many people still treasure this book. So now we have
the movie.
And the movie.
I mean, Gregory Peck, a little hard to follow. An act to follow.
Well, the first time I saw it on stage was actually at the Oslo, and I had never seen the movie before then.
Oh, really?
So that was my first taste of it. So I think that was the first time. But I had not seen the movie before I saw it on stage, so that made it a little bit more interesting.
Good introduction.
Yeah.
Along the musical lines, we have one of the final concerts that's the penultimate concert of the Venice Symphony for this season. And as such, also the next to the last concert for their conductor, Ken Bauermeister, who, those of you who are reading along in last week's Sunday's Herald-Tribune art section, may have seen the article I did about Ken, who is leaving the symphony after 7 years. They'll be doing a concert called Tales of Enchantment, and one of the pieces is featuring the youngest member of the symphony, whose name is Joy Shatsits-Tamatis. Let's call her Joy. And it was interesting when I was interviewing Ken, he was telling me that not only how talented she is, but that he had taught her mother when he was teaching at Pineview. So the next generation comes, and she'll be featured in the Mendelssohn Violin Concerto, and they're also doing Rimsky-Korsakov's Scheherazade.
So I encourage everybody to read the profile that you wrote. A lot of people know and love Ken Bauermeister because they either played with him or were students of his for many years. He taught at Pineview, and I like him because he's my next door neighbor, so it's nice to see a different side of him, and I'm looking forward to hearing one of these final concerts, so that's great. Also on stage at the Players, they're closing their backstage at the Players season with John Patrick Shanley's play Doubt. Backstage is in basically a rehearsal room that they transform into a theater at night. They have about 50 seats, and this is a play that won the Pulitzer Prize about a nun who, in the early 60s in Philadelphia, who begins to suspect something odd about the new priest who's running the school that she's basically been running. She thinks he's getting a little too close to one of the students who's requiring some extra attention because he has some behavioral issues, and you never know if the priest did something wrong or if she's overly suspicious, but considering all the things that have happened, or all the revelations we've had in recent years about priests around the country, it certainly raises a lot of doubt, which is what the whole point of the play is. That people can be run out of town on false accusations, just suspicion, and so this is you have to sort of decide if this is something you want to believe or you should reject. So there's something to think about in this play.
And then you can go see Spotlight, which was the Academy Award-winning film about the Boston Globe's investigation into priest misconduct. Back to the musical scene, we have the Ariel Quartet returning to Sarasota. They're becoming kind of regulars here. These are 4 musicians in a string ensemble that met 16 years ago in Israel and have stayed together and have participated as students in the Pearl Moon Suncoast Music Program here, and then have returned to teach through the Perlman Outreach Program in the schools. So they'll be doing some Schubert, some Bartok, and some Brahms, and they're always very popular here. So that's Sunday at the Venice Performing Arts Center.
It's a busy place down there in Venice.
Yeah.
And if you want to travel a little bit further north to St. Petersburg, American Stage launches its annual American Stage in the Park, the outdoor production of a musical, and this year it's Monty Python's Spamalot, a spoof of King Arthur and the Knights of the Round Table on their search for the Holy Grail, and it's based on the Monty Python movie Monty Python and the Holy Grail. It's been done in a lot of theaters, but it's always a fun environment. I don't know if you've ever been to one of the outdoor...
I didn't realize it was outdoors. Oh, that sounds great.
It's outdoors in Demon's Landing, or Demon's Landing. I'm not even sure how I've been saying it wrong for all these years. They have a big lawn area. You can lie on a blanket or bring a low chair. They also have some regular chairs or white plastic chairs that I usually sit in. And they have food for sale. You can bring a picnic. It's a really nice, on a nice night, it's a really wonderful environment, and this is a funny show, so that could be really good. So I'm looking forward to seeing that this weekend. It's opening on Friday, and I think it runs Wednesday through Sundays at night, and if it rains, then you're out of luck. And I sat through one production there in the rain.
In the rain?
Because it was so good we didn't want to leave. Anyway, that's what we have for you this week. There's lots more for you to discover in the arts section on Sunday and Thursday's ticket section, and on ticketsarasota.com, where you can also read a little bit about the new Oslo world premiere musical Josephine. They just had a news conference introducing the cast and the creators. The star is Deborah Cox, and we have some video of her singing and some other people singing, and so take a look at that. And otherwise, we'll see you next week.